cave. So, all right, we got it started, so we'll get underway here as soon as they start
Yeah. Sadly,
going.
Xarnax will probably be playing on the top file with Link instead of the crowd favorite bottom file with Lunk.
All right, let's start this timer, and we'll. Looks like my streams are
I don't know
a
if your
little
streams
apart,
are off or if Neerrm just took a big head start.
but we'll see. We got a cave right away, and it's the trophy. No, not trophy cave. Look, we talked
The
about the
magic
caves, and now
container.
I can't remember what they are. Yes, the magic container cave. So we'll see an item right away.
Well, Xarnax is seriously considering going through the jump cave.
And look, I called it the trophy cave because the trophy was what was there. So I had some,
Prophetic.
yeah, some prophecies there. So Neerm picks
Only
up.
30 experience for life 2. That's, I think, the cheapest it can be.
Oh wow, yeah, I missed that. Looks like Xarnax has found the trophy as well. So
Yeah,
getting the
these two
spell in Ruto
caves.
will not be an issue.
Yeah, just the location of these two caves, realistically, any player was going to find them right away.
Yeah.
And it looks like
Oh,
our other free item in the Heart Cave is the medicine.
wow.
That's actually pretty great to find the
Yeah,
trophy and the
finding both
medicine
of
right
those
away.
early, that's because now you can get all 4 spells in the West, and that's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's not only gives you the spells, which you might need anyway, but the odds of one of those spells not being either fairy or jump are pretty low. So you can probably get downstab before doing anything meaningful.
Yeah, and I know downstab is almost more important than glove for me. I don't make it very far into the game until I get downstab.
Downstab just makes combat that much
Yeah,
easier.
it's especially once you try to venture into Eastern Hyrule. Like it's being able to bounce over those guys, the lizard men, just makes everything a lot easier. Looks like we found Palace 2 on Xarnax's side. And
And
Thunder,
it looks like the trophy redeems for most powerful magic.
most powerful magic. Oh, I missed what was on the grass tile here.
Well, you didn't because Zarnax is the first to check it, and it's the raft.
Well, yeah, like I saw that he was there, but I didn't see what it
Oh, you're
was.
probably ahead of me then. But that just happens.
And,
And here we have Saria.
yep.
So both these towns up here are 2 quick spells for our runners.
Yeah, hopefully we'll
Let's see
get
if
the fairy or
Zarnax. Oh,
jump
yeah,
in.
he's gone far enough to see him.
So he's going to pick up Thunder pretty soon here.
Did you happen to catch what Thunder's cost was?
I did not, but I did see that even Attack 2 is really cheap at like 150. So
Yeah, so
XP should
far
not
this
be
has
an
the
issue.
makings of a very easy seed.
Ooh, Fire
I
is
say
the
is the
spell.
fire spell. Oh, Thunder's 114 at Magic 1. Fire's 112 for that matter. So neither of those are going to happen.
Yeah. That's you need to find a few magic containers before that'll happen or get some levels.
Yeah, usually taking Magic 2 and 3 will really help you out on a lot of the excessive, East Continent spell cost.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I guess those ones are so expensive because you don't normally get them at Magic 1. Like that's not, something they thought about. And we get the P-Bag Cave on Xarnax's side, which is not super
Well,
interesting.
that's no Parapa Cave. Oh,
Ah, I meant.
you're way ahead of me. He took Parapa Cave and found P-Bag Cave.
Ah,
While Neerrm
ooh,
actually chose not to take the cave and is exploring a little different section of the overworld.
yeah, it looks like.
Seems like Xarnax is getting caves while Neerm's getting another town.
Yeah, I think I saw Xarnax get into Death Mountain and into the brutal desert encounters here.
The good thing about these desert encounters is they do have those sets of large enemies, so if you get the right rolls, they can be really good early game grinding spots.
Yeah, they can also be, at least for me, really good life-losing spots.
Xarnax dies with full health, showing a wonderful mechanic where if you get hit and you're about to die, but you get a level up as you're dying, You can take a life level, refill your life, and then die anyway.
Yeah, I actually found that mechanic for myself a couple days ago and was quite disappointed. It looks
He's
like we
probably doubly
found.
disappointed because he took life 3 instead of attack 2, just
Ah,
trying to avoid the death.
yeah. I guess it had already registered that he ran out of health. Looks like we get another spell from Raru here, and it's life spell.
A spell Xarnax would probably like to have right now.
Unfortunately, it was Neerrm that found that one. He gets attack 2 pretty easily with that orange Dyra, but
So all around, this trip to Death Mountain did give him life 3 and attack 2,
yes.
and a quick warp back to North Palace.
I'm not sure he wanted that warp back, but he did get it. Looks like he's going to go through Jump Cave in reverse here and see where that puts him. I don't think we saw too many caves in Death Mountain, so I wonder if he will head back that way to try and explore some of those.
And it looks like Parapa Cave didn't take you very far, as Neerrm's already hooked around to where Xarnax was, and made a different decision of Death Mountain to just say no.
Yeah, I usually like to check those, first caves, but I don't know. The more I play, the more I decide that Death Mountain is something I should avoid if possible. Oh, attack 3 is not too cheap. It looks like we found Palace 3 on Xarnax's side there in the desert.
And here we have another town coming up for Neerrm. Hopefully for him it'll be Mido, as that'll be another spell. But it's just the back end of Saria.
Yeah. Looks like we're about in sync on the on Neerrm's at least. And Neerrm finding the grass tile, so he will get the raft pretty shortly here. So I think we found all 3 palaces. It looked like there was. Oh no, we haven't seen Palace 1. At least I haven't.
Yeah,
seen
we've
Palace
not
1.
seen Palace 1, which is probably the first palace these racers would really be inclined to dive into.
Yeah, but without,
as you're
without
very
key
rarely
fairy,
key blocked out of 1.
That's true. Well, I think 1 with these settings usually has, or not usually, but always has 4 keys and only 3 doors. And
yeah,
Xarnax has found Trophy
Cave. The way the
Cave.
math on it works out, if you can get to the first key at all, you're guaranteed to be able to finish the palace.
Ah, nice. I didn't realize that's how it worked. Ooh, and Trophy Cave has the P bag, which normally is a disappointment, but this early, that's actually not a bad thing to find. It gets a
I
free
believe
attack
that'll
3.
be attack 3 for Xarnax.
Yeah, it looks like this the western continent here is pretty open. I don't think we'll find any caves that need to be taken to get to.
Well, Xarnax did take the jump cave to get up here. I'm not sure if there's a way to the north without it. There might be. It hasn't been established yet.
And
Neerrm
the other entrance to Death Mountain.
So yeah, I always really like finding an entrance to Death Mountain with the rock just right there.
Yeah, it's nice
if I find the hammer, free item.
Yep. Yeah, it's disappointing when you realize that the Spectacle Rock blocks something you need, though, and it's not near an entrance, because trying to navigate your way through Death Mountain in Randomizer is not my idea of fun. I don't recognize most of those caves, since you normally don't walk through them. So I end up doubling back on my own path quite a bit.
It can certainly be pretty easy to get yourself turned around. Well, it looks like we do have a way to the north without the jump cave. It just involves going across what I think is everyone's favorite encounter in West Hyrule.
Yes, the depending on what enemies you roll on that, it can be pretty obnoxious.
As Neerrm takes the game over to everyone's favorite bird rock combo on that.
Yep. And Xarnax has
Meanwhile, Xarnax has found... This will be the last overworld item in the West, won't it?
Yeah. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, this is it. That's
So
pretty
he's made
quick.
very quick work of his early overworld exploration,
Yeah,
even though he's
assuming he
taken a
gets to
couple of
this.
deaths.
Yeah. We haven't found Palace One though, still, so that's still out there. And it's the hammer.
But dollars to donuts, it's probably pretty close to the other major thing we haven't seen, which is the raft spot.
Oh, you're right. Oh, and Neerrm finds Mido. Um,
Meanwhile, the hammer is the item in Death Mountain, and I don't believe Xarnax has found the other entrance to Death Mountain yet, so whenever he runs into it, he'll just snag an item.
yeah, that'll be pretty handy for him. I guess Hammer Cave is still unfound in the western half, if you want to count Death Mountain as part of the west. We'll see.
Yeah, though I guess, then again, Xarnax might be done checking caves because he's already found all 5.
That is true. He might not realize that. Well, he certainly doesn't realize that it's so close.
Oh, look at that. Jump in Mido.
Jump in Mido that's quite handy. It looks like we found
Xarnax has
Palace
seen
1.
what is assuredly Palace 1.
And I think he walked by the raft spot too. While he was, it was like you had said, near Palace 1. He's gonna dive right in there.
Yeah, I agree with the play in Xarnax's position, but even though Neerrm is behind in progression, the fact that he's found Mido and Downstab and already knows where Spectacle Rock is could easily give him a big heads up later when he makes his way to this area.
Yeah, I think it's too close to say it's gone in anyone's favor yet. Xarnax picking up a key though, so we'll see if he's able to clear this without any spells. And I think the only town he's gotten a spell from was oh, he must have fire, right? Did he go to Saria? I didn't see. Not that
Yeah.
it's super important.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just found fire and thunder.
So Neerrm has jump and downstab, which are both handy, and life, which is handy for those of us less skilled at the game, but perhaps not as necessary for these two.
It's not essential for the highest skilled players, but they'll certainly use it if they get it.
Yes, even Digshake will remind us all the time that there is no shame in Randomizer.
Xarnax makes a very interesting decision to take Life 3 in Palace 1, or Magic 3 in Palace 1. I say it's an interesting decision because he was on track to get Attack 4 from Horsehead, but that's probably not going to happen now.
Yeah, it could be that he's seen few enough rooms that he suspects he'll still be able to get there, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't been paying enough attention to what the enemies are worth. Meanwhile, Neerrm is in the magic or medicine cave, so he will find the hammer, and we'll see if he decides to go get Spectacle Rock's item. I like when the palaces have this backdrop of just plain black.
As long as it's not Great Palace with it.
I think this is the third of the 4 keys that he's found. Just the one on the bridge left. Oh, a lucky P bag there puts him back on track for attack 4, but he opts for life 4.
It's a bold play, to say the least.
Well, he immediately up 8 afterwards, so maybe he was wanting to not backtrack, and no sense wasting the XP at that point. Although that does possibly make it harder to get to the threshold he needs. Finding the 4th key
and
here.
CF207, I have no idea what the internal dynamics of Zelda 2's color rendering, so I couldn't answer that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the palette that makes it black or if there's because in the vanilla game there's no dungeons that have that, no palaces, temples, whatever they're called, that have the
Oh,
empty
now
background.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Neerrm found Palace 1, but instead of going into it, he's choosing to go east.
yeah. This is I don't know, maybe a gamble on his part.
Now, there are a
Finds
lot of upsides to this.
yeah,
The east has a lot of free spells.
he finds a
He,
free or a town pretty quickly. We'll see which one it is. It's
he already has the
Darunia.
boots, right?
I don't. Did he get the boots? I didn't see the boots.
Or no, I'm thinking of the other race I was watching, sorry.
Yeah, I
So,
have that problem when I watch too many or play too many in one day. Forgetting which seed I'm on. They all blur together. But he'll be able to get upstab if he can. Well, I guess he doesn't have to pull off the super jump, but he's gonna try it. And Xarnax finding the item room in Palace One.
yeah, there are a couple upsides to coming over here so early, especially because he only adds attack 2. The bountiful 500 P bags in the east could easily be his source of a couple of the low attack levels.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm usually too scared to venture to east with such low levels. So those 500 P bags are usually worthless by the time I get there.
Xarnax has just found one heck of a room here in Palace 1.
Oh, and
Oh, he doesn't have fire. He only has the thunder spell.
I wonder if he somehow knew. It seems odd because Sario was right next door. I don't know why he wouldn't have gotten both.
Yeah, that's...
I didn't see what spell Neerrm picked up in Darunia.
He didn't. You need the kid.
Oh, right, of course. That's why I didn't see it. And a Horsehead find for Xarnax. Another town for Neerrm.
Yeah, I believe this is the last remaining room in Palace 1, so he knew it had to be Horsehead.
A full clear of Palace 1. If you're going to full clear something, it's not a bad choice. Ooh, Neerrm finding old Kasuto and those invisible Moas. Making life difficult, but he makes it through. Xarnax finishing Palace 1 with...
Oh, old Kasuto has Reflect.
That is...
Now, that... And Reflect is 79, so if he finds a magic container, it's castable. That raises an interesting choice for him to do 4 as his first palace.
That... 4...
I mean, the enemies are dangerous,
yeah.
but the boss is free.
Yeah, that's true. Because the damage you do to him isn't based on your attack or anything, right? It's just...
Yeah, you just have to hit him with... I think it's 8 reflected shots in vanilla. It varies a bit in the randomizer.
Because his health is randomized. Xarnax making his way to Palace 2, I think, here. Neerrm
is cashing in on those 500 bags.
Yeah.
And taking Magic 3
maybe he wants to
saving up.
Maybe he wants to get castable Reflect and head over to
Then again,
Maze
I guess
Island.
Magic 3 doesn't really hurt him because another 500 bag will still be enough for attack 3.
Yeah, that is, yeah. He's not too far off.
Well, Xarnax is finally going to go back to get that fire spell he missed. He'll probably be pretty disappointed that he managed to forget a spell, and then it was fire, and he went back for it.
So Neerrm found...
If you're going to completely forget a spell and just not realize you haven't checked the town, then you find out at the end, oh, I just forgot to get fire.
Yeah, probably pretty disappointed with that. Neerrm saw the bridge to Maze Island, but did not go to check because there's, potential for 2 free items there.
And if one of them's a magic container, he can go straight to 4.
Yeah, it looks like he's decided to go through one of the many connector caves. And Xarnax finding another town, Raru, which had life. people always bag on the cross, but it's pretty handy to be able to see the MOAs.
Neerrm choosing not to get the 500p bag by casting jump.
Is that one
Does
always
he?
a 500 bag, or is it
I mean,
a
it
random
could
small
be a
item?
jar or an extra life, but in his position, an extra life's just about as good. So
Yeah, personally I would have gone for it, but it is a race, so if you don't think you need the thing, maybe it's better.
yeah, I'm just thinking in his position, that bag would have been attack 3. So I kind of wonder if he didn't realize that could have been up there.
Yeah, I don't remember what's there in vanilla. Xarnax finding Mido, so he will be rewarded with jump and downstab, presumably.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of players in this tournament, surprising to me really just rail against the jump spell, but when you still don't have fairy and you're standing in Mido, your appreciation for jump is going to go up quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm always happy to find jump. It comes in handy if you don't have the magical key as well. If you get to palace, is it 5? Where there's just keys everywhere, but you need jump to get most of them.
Yeah, 5's definitely the main palace where jump just rewards you with keys. But I'm one of those heathens who believes that Thunderbird is best fought with jumps, so
Uh, yeah, I find that I can beat Thunderbird fairly consistently without jump, so I've been trying to stick to that strategy. Just seems I don't know, less random. Trying to get him in that pattern and
I honestly feel the opposite where you have a little more margin for error with jump because if he gets off pattern, you can still hit him.
yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I'm just trying to be like the pros.
Neerrm again peeked into Palace 1 and decided he wanted no part of it.
Yeah, I wonder if
Now, in
he's looking for
theory, there's a
fairy.
flow to the randomizer's logic where the game won't force you to go to Palace 1 without either Fairy or the Master Key.
Yeah, so I wonder if he's looking for one of those items.
But he hasn't made his way back to Death Mountain yet, even though I believe he's picked up the hammer.
Yeah, he grabbed the hammer. Xarnax going into Palace 2 now.
Palace 2 is a pretty logical play in Xarnax's position.
Yeah,
He's
done with
finished one, he has downstab.
He's got the one extra key from one, I'm pretty sure. Another plug for Digshake to add keys to the non-pause HUD.
He does have the extra key from it. He full cleared one, of course. Neerrm's going to find the trophy cave, and thus the last overworld item for him.
Yes.
And that won't quite be attack 2 or attack 3, but it'll be close enough. He can just kill this Dyra.
Yeah, he'll get plenty from the Dyra. Yeah, I didn't see what brought him back from Eastern Hyrule here. Was he did he game over, or did he just not find interesting
He up
things?
A'd, but he was kind of in a dead end style area
Ah, I see.
where it was extremely unlikely he was going to survive going back through that cave.
Gotcha.
Because, yeah, that can be something that you really have to think about in the randomizer. You might not want to up A, but if you're going to game over anyway in the next couple of minutes, you might as well save a few minutes and just do it.
Yeah, that's one of the big problems I have when in my runs is I'm very stubborn about trying to do things that I'm clearly not skilled enough to get through.
Neerrm does go to Death Mountain,
Yeah.
so let's see if this is important.
Was that the flute?
Probably not.
Yeah. But, we might get that, the 1% of seeds where River Devil is actually blocking you from something. And it can come in handy. He might be, there might be a route around him that's significantly less convenient.
Yeah, it's very rare he's truly required because there's so many connectors in the East.
Yeah.
but it's fairly common that he's in an inconvenient place, and it saves time to go around him.
Yeah.
Or to go through him instead of around him.
Xarnax. Oh, he has jump, so he should be able to get through this room. And this room is always disappointing when you find it and have neither jump nor fairy. And decides he wants the key more than his life there. Looks like Neerrm's gonna explore Death Mountain, try and find the Hammer Cave.
Honestly, since we've already found both spell items in the West, that's a pretty low percent play. If this isn't the boots or the glove, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. And I mean, the boots... I guess the boots are fairly often required.
I mean,
They're
if he
certainly
finds
handy.
it in what I would say an average amount of time to do death, the boots are probably about time neutral.
Yeah, that's true. They do save you a lot of time being able to skip encounters and navigate more easily.
And they do have a fair chance of being required. And the glove would obviously be worth it. But even if it's
Yes.
like the Master Key, I wouldn't do Death Mountain for the Master Key.
Yeah, but if he finds the Master Key, that might be the nudge he needs to start digging into palaces. this Guman just not cooperating with Xarnax, staying hidden in the blocks.
Yeah, you see that a lot in this style of rooms where these Doom Rattlers just go up and they'll jump through solid objects.
Yeah.
I always just take it as a blessing and let them go where they want to go. Oh, my personal favorite, the blue iron knuckle in a narrow passage.
Yes. But just a little wider passage and you could jackhammer through him, but this one is... You gotta fight him the slow way.
And even with Magic 4, I still don't believe Xarnax can afford Thunder, which would be the other solution to this.
That's something I don't see people do a lot, and I know I myself almost never remember to do, is cast Thunder on things that aren't Thunderbird.
Xarnax has already taken Life 5, so he's using very unconventional leveling strats. I think it might just be take what you get as you get it, and you'll probably reach attack 6 by the end.
Yeah. I think it saves some time. I always try and just get attack as high as I can, because it makes the combat much easier, but if you're skilled at the combat and you can deal with having low attack through the early dungeons, it probably saves quite a bit of time not having to go back and grind to maximize your gems.
Yeah, and I've talked to Xarnax about how he plays this game and how I play this game, and one thing he's commented on is that he feels very comfortable in combat, and what always seems to get him is whenever he has to backtrack or otherwise gets lost having to find things.
Yeah,
so anything that lets him just go probably minimizes that. Meanwhile, Neerrm is just reminding us why we really don't like Death Mountain very much at all.
Yeah, I've lost count of how many caves he's gone through. And Xarnax finds the item room in 2. Gets the magic key, so that's certainly useful. Save him some time going through the dead ends.
Master Key's pretty fantastic to find here in 2.
Yeah, the earlier you get that one, the more useful it is, but I think it's early enough that that's going to be a good thing to have.
Because we have to actually really be thinking about where this glove could be. If Neerrm's about to get the glove in his Death Mountain expedition, then obviously that works greatly to his favor. But otherwise, they have no magic containers, so they can't get the items from New Kasuto. They can't really do 3 or 6.
Yeah, 2 could potentially even be glove blocked. I haven't been keeping good track of what rooms Xarnax has seen here, but he did just find the glove room, and it was... It
He's
was
seen one of
potentially
the
blocking.
right-hand dead ends, so it's a 50-50 right now, whether he's glove blocked or not. But yeah, the thing about Master Key is it's pretty likely that a dive into 4 or 5 is going to be in Xarnax's future, so that key is going to really help with both of those.
Yeah, certainly with this low, no magic containers yet, they probably can't cast fairy more than twice, if even that.
If they can find Fairy.
Oh, that's right. No fairy yet. And we've seen 2 of the towns.
Though it is, again, the guarantees of the randomizer, you must have access somehow to either Fairy or Master Key to do dungeons.
That's
so
true.
since Master Key was in 2, Fairy has to be accessible from the overworld.
And not glove blocked in 2, we find Helmet Head here. Oh, Neerrm giving up on Death Mountain.
Now that really hurts, because
Yeah.
Death Mountain was a big time sink for him already, and whether its item is required or not, he's not getting that time back now.
Yeah. I guess if we find that glove is there, he perhaps remembers some of the caves he went through, and will be able to more easily explore when he returns. But
I don't
that's a
know if
big
he
gamble.
draws maps while he goes, but unless he has, let's be real, no one's going to remember what they did in Death Mountain a half an
Yeah.
hour ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure what he's up to now. Is he?
Oh, is
thought
he looking for the other Death Mountain entrance?
Oh, that could
Maybe
be.
he hasn't given up on Death Mountain, he just wants to try it from the other side.
That could very well be. And he finds it. But I thought I had seen him in this section before, but maybe not.
When Neerrm first saw this, he noped on out, while Xarnax gave it a very little try before being greeted by a very kind desert encounter.
That's right. Yeah, with the fireballs and the orange Dyra.
And the blue Goria, it gave him a very quick warp back to North Palace.
So yeah, we didn't actually
Neerrm
see what a lot of
discovered
these
that
caves
this
were.
end didn't have the cave quickly.
Xarnax dips into Palace 3, but without the glove, that's not really worth exploring at the moment.
I mean, it can be worth gambling. You have a little worse than a 50-50 of being able to get through it without the glove. But the fact that you know the glove's not in there kind of minimizes the value of the play.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not gonna look for the item in there, I guess it could be. It seems very unlikely that you would have access to both the item and the boss without the glove. But I guess there's not, unless the boots
We're
are there.
gonna
I
find
don't know what
out
they would
one way
hunt
or
for.
another.
Looks like he changed his mind. Is going back anyway.
Right away, we discover a glove block to the right, and I feel like going left is very seldom correct in 3. Sometimes it is, but the structure of the dungeon just doesn't seem to lend to it very much.
Yeah, there's not many rooms that let you loop back.
But we found the only one.
He decides not to continue pressing left because of the.
Well, I think it's assured that pressing left would just lead to the left side dead end in 3.
And glove blocked here as well.
And now, thanks to stream delay, I too see the glove block. So, as a lot of people probably could have predicted, 3's not going to pay off for Xarnax, so he might be going to confirm that going left really isn't going to lead to anything.
Yeah, he's gonna.
I guess there is one possible structure where it could lead to something. It seems real unlikely, though.
Yeah, I don't have a good grasp on the rooms, and nope, it's just a dead end.
Yeah, this was exactly the room I expected to be right here.
Oh, Oh, Xarnax got
Xarnax
the
so
Master
far
Key,
has
right?
really
I didn't
avoided
mark
the
that.
Eastern Continent, but that's really about the only play he has left. It's either that or Death Mountain, and I really doubt we're going to see Xarnax inflict Death Mountain upon himself willingly.
Yeah, I mean, I, both of them are tough places to go, but you know you have to go to Eastern Hyrule, so you can't avoid that one. You might as well cut out one of the situations that's difficult. It looks like he's gonna head there now.
And speaking of Death Mountain, it looks like Neerrm might have finally just given up on it, but that was a very costly detour, to say the least.
Yeah, I didn't see the circumstances that led him out.
Yeah, I was kind of focused on Xarnax's Palace 3.
But he's made his way to the east now. Find Darunia and get upstab. Nope, decides not worth it.
Yeah, a lot of runners will either skip Upstab completely, or because it's only possibly required in Great Palace, only go for it when they're turning in the kid.
Yeah, I think it's pretty handy for dealing with the bats and the spiders.
Oh, I personally really like having Upstab. I use it to cover up part of how bad I am at fighting Barba, but
Oh yeah, I forgot you can hit him with upstab.
yeah, I think the only thing immune to Upstab and Downstab is the Thunderbird.
I thought Boss Guma couldn't be hit by those either. But I don't know. I don't ever try and get in his hitbox.
Um, I'm not. I know you can pogo him with Downstab, but off his helmet. I also know trying to actually hit his vulnerable part with Upstab or Downstab sounds like suicide.
It certainly does. I've
Zarnax
seen a
just
lot of
picking up
runners.
Reflect. I have a strong feeling when Zarnax sees Maze Island, he's just going to do it. He's been showing a much greater commitment to palaces than Neerrm has so far.
That is true. Forgetting to mark all the things Zarnax found, but he sees Palace 6 and just uses it to refill his lives.
I really like doing that in the East, because
Yeah, it's
by the time you're over here, 100 or less experience doesn't really mean anything, but a game over is really costly. Especially on this overworld where the raft spot is a pretty fair trek from North Palace.
yeah, it is not close. Collect some free XP there. It looks like he found Palace 5. I wonder if he will dive into that.
I think the textbook play is no, but if he was willing to risk 3, 5's a better play than 3.
Yeah, and he wanders around it. I'm not sure what he's... Just checking for stuff? Yeah.
The chat informing us that it is possible to jackhammer Boss Guma, but it's not a reasonable proposition.
Yes. Well, if Simple
that
can
is to
do
say,
it,
he's
then...
only ever seen Simple Dude do it.
Yeah, that's not meaningful for us mere mortals. Neerrm taking the trip over to Maze Island. We'll see if he... this is 2 potential spots to find the glove here.
And
here's
at this
one of
point,
them.
the odds of one of these not being either the glove or a magic container are pretty low. And magic container means you can just go straight into Palace 4.
Yeah.
Though we start with the child.
The child
Which-
in the child cave, or is this the magic container cave? I don't remember which one's which.
The child cave, I think, is the long one.
Yeah, that was the long one because it has the large enemy guarding it.
Yeah, as you kidnap that large enemy's child and give it to this old woman in Darunia.
I like this version of the story. Xarnax deciding to head into Palace 5. Maybe he was grinding XP? No, because he reset when he got here. I'm not sure what he was up to, wandering around the forest there.
Neerrm continues his hunt for the second item in the maze. Definitely the right call.
Yeah, at this point, you're running out of options of where you might find the glove, and I mean, there's still 4 magic containers left. And as far as he knows, 4 heart containers. So that would be somewhat disappointing.
Yeah, this has not exactly been a container-rich seed.
Well, we found the 1 heart container in Palace 1, but that's it so far.
Now, Xarnax's play for Palace 5 here is interesting.
Well,
because
he
a
finds
lot
the
of
item.
people really dislike Palace 5 for a variety of mostly obvious reasons. But you have to do it eventually, and sometimes you get what Xarnax just got here, and you find the item pretty fast.
Yeah, that was a very fast item find for 5. I usually don't like having to find the item in 5, just because it's such a big palace. And there's a lot of opportunity for loops, which you don't really see in the earlier palaces. And those can be very frustrating, walking through several difficult rooms and winding up where you started.
Though again, Xarnax has always said he has a lot of trouble with backtracking, so I wonder if his motivation just is he'll never have to find Palace 5 again if he finishes it right now.
That is, yeah.
There's some logic to that, even, beyond your own getting lost, because it takes time to run out to this far corner of East Hyrule where 5 is. You feel you're good enough to clear it right now, why not just do it?
Yeah, that's usually what, if I find a palace and I feel prepared, I'll usually dive into it. But my threshold for preparedness is probably a lot higher than these two.
You're not a fan of Attack 4 Boss Guma?
I think I've done it on Attack 4, well, maybe once before. If I have Attack 4 for Boss Guma, that means 5 is the second palace I'm doing, and that's not ideal. But you get those seeds where, the 2 is glove blocked, and you don't have Reflect yet. What are you going to do but 5 second? Neerrm's still wandering around Maze Island. Did he get the... I didn't see him fall into the second item room.
I haven't seen it either.
With the seizure-inducing animation, I don't think I'd miss that one, even if I'm paying attention to Xarnax and 5 here. Ooh, he game overs.
He did get a flashing screen of a different variety, and it's a teleport back to the North Palace.
That's unfortunate.
What really makes that death more painful than most is realistically his main good option here is just to go right back.
Yeah, he might dive into the palaces in the west here, but he seems hell-bent on finding Fairy or Magic Key first. Of course, we know Fairy is the only option, but... Ooh.
And we also know Fairy must be in the east anyway.
Yeah,
I guess he'll probably choose to cash in the kid because he'll walk right by Darunia.
And that could be Fairy, since the kid was available without venturing into dungeons.
That is true.
Neerrm pausing at the boulder there. I don't have the sound on, but I'm guessing he wrong buttoned and played a little ditty on the flute instead of crushing the boulder there.
Doesn't everyone just hit both buttons trying to smash boulders?
Yeah, it's you use that so infrequently that no one really has a good memory of which button is which, I think. So while the item was easy to find in 5, Guma is a little more elusive here.
Though you can't really feel like that's a particular time loss just because you have to deal with this eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not really slower to do it earlier than later.
Neerrm indeed going to find out what spell is in Darunia. So it could be
As
Fairy
this
or Shield
poor
or
Lizalfos'
spell.
child is now doomed to a life with this old woman.
He gets shield, which is not likely what he was hoping for, but
There's really no other way to put it. That's just plain disappointing as a find.
Xarnax gonna try the damage boost here, having no fairy spell.
Difficult is a word to describe this.
Yeah, I think for me this room is fairy blocked. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
The randomizer will not force you to do this.
Yeah, he decides that Palace 5 is not ready for him yet.
We've seen the ocean tile, meanwhile, on Neerrm's side. He can't access it yet, but it's always good to know where it is. Oh, right by the boots, of course. And right by New Kasuto.
New Kasuto. Not enough magic containers to get the item from the old woman, but I'm surprised he didn't talk to her to find out how many he needed at least.
I'm telling you, when you respect your elders in this game, you get rewarded. Listen to what they have to say.
You know, I've talked to Digshake a little bit about this, but one of his plans is to add hints to the random NPCs that you can talk to.
Oh, it's spell.
Spell in New Kasuto. That's
And it's castable, but Neerrm did not refill his magic when he walked by the old woman, so he's going to have to double back a bit.
Yeah, that's what you get when you don't respect your elders.
Yeah, Neerrm with all the elder disrespect. In doing that, he has both brought shame on the family and wasted time on the clock.
He decides to talk to everyone on the way back there, though. Refill his health as well.
Well, at least he's learned his lesson about being a social guy.
Xarnax finding the child as well here. Well, the cave that has the child, anyway. So I'm guessing a container in the spell tower, but it could be the gloves. And it's a heart container. Ooh, not what he wanted to find. It's hard to be disappointed about the first heart container, though.
We found 3 of the 4 heart containers and 0 of the 4 magic containers.
Xarnax... Oh, I was like quickly finding the second fall spot, but he just doubled back onto that first one again.
In Neerrm's chat, I see him saying that this is definitely the trolliest seed he's ever played.
And Neerrm going into the water tile. When did he get the boots? I guess I missed that.
Did you see what Neerrm just found?
I didn't see what he grabbed there. Was it the glove?
The glove.
Nice. I must have missed him getting the boots, too. I was not
Yeah, the
aware.
boots were in the desert tile.
Ah.
Right by the entrance to New Kasuto,
Right,
and then
right.
the water tile was the glove.
So that's a huge find for Neerrm. He's gonna go to Dungeon 2.
He doesn't know it, but we know that Palace 2 is the absolute best one for him to do first, as if he hunts this item, he'll have himself a master key.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to, taking that first left. Ooh, but
well, he has to go
blocked.
other ways first to get a couple keys, but they're accessible in here.
Yeah, you have a better memory for the dungeons than I do, I guess.
Yeah, the slowest route leads to the X room that has a key at the end, and then the second lower route leads to, I believe it's that room with that terrible blue iron knuckle in the narrow passage.
Oh,
There's a key beyond it.
So Xarnax going through the same dance of looking for the second item in Maze Island here, which
though key problems have persuaded Neerrm to leave and go somewhere else.
maybe he'll try Palace 1 first. I don't remember if he found Palace 1 ever. Well, it was right near the raft spot, so he must have.
Yeah, in his chat, he tells us what he was thinking, that he is just hunting for fairy or key.
Yeah, I mean, I can
And
understand not wanting to delve into the dungeons, and it's pretty aggravating to see locked doors everywhere and have no way to get through them.
based on what we've seen, we know Fairy must be in Naburu, so
Yeah, but
I can never figure out how to pronounce that town.
we we've not seen Naburu yet. Naburu, however you want to say it. Thirsty Broad Town, as Angry Larry likes to call it.
Sage of Spirit Town.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny that all the Ocarina of Time characters were named after the cities in this game.
And they're all sages other than Mido for some reason. Well, I guess there is no Kasuto. Don't know
Yeah,
who that guy's supposed to be.
well, I mean, there was only 6 stages in that game, 6, 7.
Yeah, I mean, there's the six of them, and then there's Zelda, who kind of works with them. The town of Zelda would be a little off-putting.
Ooh, Xarnax finds the second fall spot, and it's the perennial favorite, the cross.
Yeah, I think now that he's done with New Kasuto and has explored a lot of East Hyrule, it's a good time to find the cross.
Yeah, I mean, everyone bags on that item, but I don't find it that aggravating. Finding fire is really that's the annoying one to find in this game.
I would honestly rather have fire than the cross. Hey, there's like 2 or 3 rooms fire could hypothetically help in.
I mean,
It's really just one obnoxious one in GP.
the cross can help though. Being able to see those things is handy.
But more importantly, he got great information about where the glove isn't.
That is true.
And his dive into Palace 4 is likely to reveal even more information to him about the non-location of the glove.
It might not be the
Based on what
information
we
he
know,
wants,
this
but
almost has to be a magic container.
yeah. What else is there? Even the one heart container we haven't seen.
Yeah, that's it. Between 3, 4, 6, the 2 new Kasuto items, Death Mountain.
Well, we saw one of the new Kasuto items was a heart container.
Oh yeah, so it's just the magic container item that Neerrm declined to talk to the old woman and get some information. So we don't know how many containers you need for the other item.
Yeah, his I don't know. I guess he didn't want to sit through that text.
So it's kind of fitting that Neerrm is just hunting Naburu so aggressively because he is definitely thirsty for the fairy spell. But he takes another unfortunate game over. This is really a rough situation for Neerrm. Even though he has the glove, realistically, Xarnax is going to find the area with the boots and the glove. And Xarnax is already up 2 full palaces. He knows where to go in 5. And he's going to finish 4, probably.
Yeah, I don't. There's no reason he wouldn't finish 4. I mean, you can't be glove blocked in 4, that I remember.
No, you cannot. The only thing the glove really does for you is help you get keys.
Yeah, he's
And
already got the
seeing this
magic
room
key.
from this side confirms he's not fairy blocked in 4,
Ah,
which
right.
was the only possible block he could have run into in this palace. So I guess I
Yeah.
haven't seen what Reflect cost at Magic 5, have you?
I have not.
It's extremely low probability it would not be castable, though. Actually, I think at 5 it might be guaranteed castable. I can't remember if it's 5 or 6. It's the threshold where you can definitely cast Reflect even with no containers.
Yeah, next time he pauses, I'll try and take a look. He finds a magic container, so he should be in good shape. Finally, finding one of those 4 sneaky devils.
The other big thing about that, of course, is he has to be thinking long term about GP, and you have to be able to cast Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, four magic containers not likely to cut it in GP. Can Thunder at Magic 8 be under 64?
Thunder can be under 64 at any level if you're lucky enough, but
Oh,
it often isn't.
I thought there were there's like certain percentages that it fell in.
Yeah, it's range up to Magic 6. The lowest it can be is 60. So you could get it under 64, but you don't have a lot of window for it.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I'm sure these guys are comfortable with only being able to cast Thunder, but if I
I
have
know
to fight,
Xarnax has specifically said if he can cast Thunder, he's fine for Thunderbird.
if I like to have Thunder and Shield at the very least. He
Thunder and
finds
Jump, I'm happy.
he finds a Carrick here and resets his magic. So that'll be
So 4 was fairly kind to him, really.
yeah, not you can get into some loopy situations with the drop rooms in 4, but
Yeah, like it's usually pretty straightforward, but it's just complex enough it has a chance to troll you a bit. But none of that today.
yeah, I always found it disappointing that they the the palace on Maze Island wasn't the labyrinthine one.
Both of the ones after it are definitely far more labyrinthine.
Yeah, like I guess maybe they wanted to ease you into it. It's just a taste of how palaces can behave.
Meanwhile, finally, Neerrm finds the fairy spell.
I missed where Nibiru was, but that completes his spell book. He has all 8 spells now.
And Neerrm can't be happy right now. Still no gems placed, and we're nearing an hour in. He has everything he needs to beat the game. He could just not hunt items in any palaces.
That is true. Hopefully he hunts items in 2 at least, though. Finding that magic key, I think, will really speed things up for him.
Yeah, and he might need a magic container. That's kind of the other potential snag.
Yeah, I didn't see what Thunder costs, but it doesn't look like he's interested in hunting items in 2.
He's going to have to take a left at some point, though, because this is a dead end.
Oh, maybe he
so
will
he
happen,
might just
happen
luck
upon
into
the
it.
item. Yeah.
Though I understand why he wouldn't want to hunt items right now.
Well, yeah,
he has to know he's behind.
He has to assume that Xarnax made some headway on the palaces at this point. Finding Fairy is the literal last spell.
And here's the X room that I was talking about.
Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and grab the key out of it. Xarnax.
And I would expect an up A. Yeah, there it goes.
Xarnax going into Death Mountain to check the Spectacle Rock, but getting snagged by an encounter instead. So he finds the flute. Probably not
terribly happy about that find. I wonder if we're now going to see Xarnax hunt Death Mountain, because he knows he's pretty low on glove spots. This might be something that's starting to make sense to him.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to at least do a cursory exploration here.
Now, we know this is some kind of a container. We don't know for sure whether it's heart or magic. Probably magic.
Yeah, we've got 3 magic left and only 1 heart. So, and that's all it can be. We found every other item.
But whichever one it is, it's definitely not worth it, because as Neerrm showed us, this is not a quick or easy Death Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, he could get lucky and just happen to pick the cave that leads right to the section with Hammer Cave, but there's so much luck involved with Death Mountain, and we've seen a lot of these open areas with several caves. So that makes me think that it's, you have to really just get lucky in which cave you decide to travel through to find the tiny area where Hammer Cave is hiding.
And it is possible, albeit unlikely, that the boots can be required in Death Mountain.
But we found the boots.
Neerrm has found the boots.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Like, required to find the Hammer Cave.
Yeah, so it's entirely possible you could just explore all of Death Mountain and still get nothing.
Right. It could be like one of those right on the coast with a single entrance. Like there's just one with 3 desert tiles there, but I think we saw Neerrm pop out of that cave, so I don't think that one's actually boot blocked.
Of course, here's a little disadvantage to Neerrm having the glove. He is going to go beyond this room, cover the last rightward dead end in Palace 2.
It's not often that the glove slows you down, but anything is possible in the randomizer.
Yeah, it's always kind of funny when you need items to go certain ways in palaces and it turns out those ways are wrong. It can often turn having those items into a disadvantage. Though the other way around, if that was the right way, having the item saves you tons of time.
Yeah. So he presumably knows this is a dead end at this point, but it's without the magic key, he's gonna go ahead and...
He found the magic key.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
He must have just wanted the experience.
Yeah, you are right. He has the magic key there. So Neerrm has every item but the cross at this point. That's it's about as well as you can hope to play it with item collection.
Neerrm commenting in his chat he certainly realizes Xarnax has probably done this. That you were able to get that magic key right away.
Yeah, that's when you find those easy to reach items, it's always kind of like, oh, how long ago did my opponent get this? Well, it looks like the concurrent race that was happening is over. So we've got people filtering into chat here.
So for anyone just joining us, given that the other race is over, the summary of this seed is that Neerrm has been really dedicated to the overworld, whereas Xarnax has been a lot more dedicated to palaces. Xarnax has cleared 1, 2, and 4 due to his palace dedication and thanks to an early master key from 2, while Neerrm has managed to find the glove and fairy spell in distant locations on the East Continent. And Death Mountain is
with
kind of a mystery to us, other than that it's horrible. We don't know what the other item in here is. Neerrm spent a lot of time hunting it earlier and eventually just gave up.
Which we now know is the right decision, since all that's here is a container, probably magic. Neerrm finds Helmet Head, and he'll soon start his trek down the path of gem placement.
For a while, I was kind of thinking that Neerrm might be out of it. He was so behind. But if Xarnax spends too much more time in Death Mountain, there's really a door open for Neerrm to catch up here.
Yeah, he doesn't know it, but his decision to go to Death Mountain really tightened this race right back up.
Yeah, because Neerrm doesn't have to really hunt anything anymore. He just has to complete palaces and gain levels.
Yeah.
The only potential snag he could have is, again, if he needs a magic container.
Yeah, and I haven't seen how much Thunder costs at 4, which might, give us some insight. But the way that the spell cost things work, it's kind of up in the air until it's under the cost you want. You don't really know how many levels you're gonna need.
Yeah, you only really feel confident about getting Thunder cost reductions at Magic 7 or 8, but sometimes you get lucky at early levels.
He's gonna dive into Palace 1 next. Palace 1 had a heart container, if I remember.
Yes, it did.
So he's gonna
He's going to look for it
look
because
for the
one's
item.
small and he has the
Yeah.
master key anyway, so
One's so short. I can't imagine not looking for the item in one.
yeah, like I could imagine not looking for it if you were worried about keys and you didn't want to spend a key to open it. But with master key, why not?
Xarnax still not finding Hammer Cave.
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but I know it's somewhere horrible. There's probably one random cave in a long row of caves that's correct, and
You know what?
everything else is
And
wrong.
it's one of those four-way caves, and you have to pick not only the right cave but the right path through it.
Well, most people, when they see a four-way, are going to try all four of the ways.
That's true.
Because I believe there are, what, 3 four-ways in Death Mountain?
I feel like
Oh,
there's 100 of them, but like I said, I get very turned around in Death Mountain.
it's easy to get turned around, not just because of, your own mistakes, but also because there are a lot of caves in Death Mountain that look identical to each other.
Yeah, and like especially when you've been exploring it this long, you kind of get the reference of empty caves being ones you've already been to.
Though it's doubly bad when you manage to find one of the other entrances to Death Mountain, because that can easily just reset all the enemies and cause you to forget where you've been.
Oh, does leaving Death Mountain reset them? That's yeah.
The glove is in the ocean spot, and the boots are in the desert spot in East Hyrule. And they're both right next to each other, and also next to New Kasuto.
Yes, the Spectacle Rock was the horn.
Death Mountain is confirmed not required, but Xarnax does not know that.
42 would be the meaning of life, Yunos. Hope we can continue to answer all of your questions. You can have a cookie, but you have to find it on your own, Dig.
Yeah, I mean, Dig, I have a pack of cookies in the kitchen. Feel free, go grab one.
I decided I wish Xarnax had a webcam going so we could see his face when he finds Hammer Cave.
If he finds Hammer Cave,
Yeah.
it could be boot blocked for all we know. Oh, I hate this. Here's where I'd really be asking, can I afford Thunder?
Yeah. Or he has Spell, too, which can get you out of that kind of pickle.
I don't think it works on Iron Knuckles, does it?
I thought it did.
Neerrm not only has all relevant spells, he also has all irrelevant spells. He has a full list.
And he has every item but the cross. So plenty of potentially irrelevant items as well.
Yeah, this is really an interesting race because Neerrm was way behind on gems in progress, but Death Mountain's just an infinite time sink. And Neerrm finds his magic container.
Yeah, so that really that seals it for him. I don't think he has any concern about hunting for items at this point.
Yeah, because the odds of if you get up to like Magic 6 and Thunder costing more than 80, I think it's possible, but it's just extraordinarily unlikely.
Yeah, we should have started a second timer when Xarnax went into Death Mountain here. It's been quite the sink for him.
And the worst thing about it is the psychology of it. The more time you spend in Death Mountain, the more you feel you're committed to finding that item.
Yeah, the throwing good money after bad, or time in this case.
Like, I was kind of critical of Neerrm when he spent all that time in Death Mountain just to leave with nothing, but that could have been the race-winning decision.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly could have been. You know, it certainly seems like you're invested in it and you have to finish, but if it's not the right place to be, the best decision is always to cut your losses and leave.
Because at this point, I'm pretty sure Xarnax has spent even more time in Death Mountain than Neerrm did.
Yeah, he must have at this point. If I remember, Xarnax only did like one palace while Neerrm was there, and Neerrm is.
I think he did about 1.5. He did one in about half of 2.
So Neerrm has done both 2 and 1 in that time, and is progressing nicely through. Is this 3 that he's in? I was
he's
distracted with the Death Mountain
at the
debacle.
end of 3. He got the magic container as an item out of it, and he's about to take out Rebo.
And meanwhile, it looks like Xarnax has cut his losses and is abandoning the hunt in Death Mountain. He's probably unhappy with that decision, but we know that that's the best thing he could do.
Oh, Rebo is worth a lot of experience, allowing Neerrm to get the attack 6 out of Palace 3.
Oh, that is.
He was not on track for it, but he got a very high roll.
That's always satisfying when you get the high XP boss, and especially when it's Rubenak, because you can milk that for a couple more times once you get to 6.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It can really pay off. Now, the question is, what's Xarnax do from here? If he goes east and finds the boots and glove right away, this is still a very close race. But if he keeps going wrong directions, this could easily get out of hand for him.
Yeah, and even if he does go find the boots and gloves, he still has to come back to do Palace 3.
Though he's already finished 4, and he knows the right way in 5, I believe.
That's right.
He's explored most of it.
I forgot that he had briefly ventured into 5. We found that 5 was fairy blocked or
yeah, it had the right enemies to do the eco key, but the trick just didn't work out for Xarnax. I mean, I can't possibly be critical of that. I know I couldn't do the eco key.
Yeah, I'm not even interested in trying that maneuver. I was confused about what Xarnax was up to, but he had to walk around that long river, not having the boots. That's
Yeah, there's a shorter route to the raft spot if you use the hammer, but I don't know if Xarnax knows the path, whereas he knows the path through Jump Cave. Meanwhile, Neerrm continues his mad dash to the finish by charging into Palace 5.
Yeah. Xarnax, I would have expected him to go stop by Darunia there, because he has the kid now. Maybe he doesn't remember it's there, or maybe...
Especially because Xarnax knows he needs the fairy spell sooner or later. Like, we know that Darunia is just shield, but he has no way to know that.
Yeah, and it's right there. It's not out of the way at all. I'm a little surprised by that.
Though it's been so long he's in Death Mountain, you see this happen to people sometimes where they just kind of forget where things are back out in the overworld. Fairies in Naboru... Yeah, Fairies in Naboru, J. Coper, we didn't catch where it is in the overworld, other than that it's in the most difficult spot to reach. Because Neerrm found everything else before he found the town with Fairy.
Yeah, have we Palace 6 is the one right near, or is that Palace 5 that's right near Old Kasuto?
Yeah, Palace 6, I think it's Old Kasuto there. I know it's right by Death Road, so it's a very good one to do last.
Yeah. Have we? So that is Palace 6.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was 5 or 6. 5 was like somewhere in the south, maybe then. We've seen both of the palaces in East Hyrule though. In any case,
Yeah.
so
Neerrm knows where everything is he needs to beat the game. He just has to go and do palaces.
yeah, that's a good feeling to have. I think it really like
He does
all
have
of
the
the
three larger
randomness.
palaces, and he's neck deep in 5 here.
Yeah, but not having any more exploration to do. He just has to go to the places and do them. That takes half of the randomizer elements out of the game. Now it's just a question of fighting the enemies and trying to do that quickly. I mean, the exploration of the palaces is still part of it, I suppose.
That was a very fiery room he just passed through.
Yeah, it's not hard to take multiple hits from those barrages of fire. Xarnax finding the River Devil, but deciding not to go through it.
He does have the horn.
Maybe he already saw what was on the other side of that.
I mean, from Xarnax's perspective, he's really hunting desert tiles and the 2 towns he hasn't found yet.
Yeah, and I thought wasn't the desert and water tile just on the other side of that bridge that he's near?
I think they're kind of close to the center of the map.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. East Hyrule was not straightforward,
Yeah.
and I didn't really get a good feel for its geography.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I had a good system for was mapping the overworlds, because especially if I have to go back and forth a lot, I have a really hard time remembering where anything is. Neerrm finding the
Yep, Thunder
the
is
ferry
78 at
requirement.
Magic 4. I finally saw it.
78.
So
So
he
not
can
quite
cast Thunder right now.
Oh, right. He has the. I forgot he got the 5th. Ooh, and Xarnax finding the clutch of items here. So he'll get
So
the boot
Xarnax will have the boots soon.
and the
Yeah, he has
spell
the boots,
spell.
he'll have the glove,
Oh,
he'll have another heart container.
He talked to the old lady, or did he? I missed
Yeah,
it.
it's 6 magic containers.
Ah, so he's hoping for. Well, certainly he was hoping for the glove there, and that's what he got. But
Yeah, like, he was hoping for a magic container and then the glove in a new Kasuto, but he's not going to be upset at this at all.
no.
So it looks like Neerrm concluded that the Eco Key was not the right way in 5.
Really? I thought that was the only way that was left there.
As Neerrm is about to find the item in 5, which if I recall it was a magic container, right?
I no a heart.
Oh no, it was
container.
just another heart. Just another old heart.
Yeah, they both have. Do they both have the same magic container? From. No, Neerm
No,
got his. in
Neerrm got
3.
his from 3, and I know Xarnax couldn't get to that. Xarnax might have gotten his from 4.
Yeah, that could be. Was this another heart container in here? I think so.
Yeah, I do believe they have the same 3 heart containers with this heart container from New Kasuto. Though really, Xarnax was probably just really disappointed to find the spell instead of the fairy spell.
Yeah,
'Cause
certainly.
he still does not know where Nabaru is.
And he decides to go back. Probably gonna
He-
do 3 here.
Yeah, he might go do 3, and then he'll probably check Darunia hoping for Fairy, only to be disappointed.
Yeah, and I don't think Naburu is near any of the places he wants to be, so that's going to be somewhat out of the way for him to get to. So 5 is proving to be
Yeah, it feels like
quite a
Neerrm's been
struggle.
in 5 forever. Like, this does just kind of happen with 5, and you can tell he's still going new ways. It's a massive dungeon.
It really is. It can be very frustrating.
It's been so long since Xarnax has been in 5, I wonder how well he'll remember where he's even been, though.
Yeah, it's certainly possible that he won't have a good recollection of it at this point. Did did Neerrm get the item in 5? I don't remember what item
Yes,
was
he
in
did.
5. Oh yeah,
It
it
was
was
just that heart container. And he's found yet another one of 5's many dead ends.
yes, this is the most disappointing dead end, having neither a key nor a magic container in the statue, or not a magic container, a red potion.
Yet, this particular dead end contains nothing but sadness.
Not even good XP from the mostly small enemies in there.
Xarnax should find the magic container here, but he really just wants to see Rebo, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, another magic container never hurts, though. And so it wasn't out of the way, really.
It's funny because both racers have had such huge time losses. They don't know this race is fairly close. They
Yeah,
both probably feel like they're behind.
I have to imagine they both, yeah, aren't feeling very confident right now. Looks like Neerrm was going for some aggressive strats on Guma there, but he's got the lives to give. How's the seed
D-Pad
been?
Danny, the seed has been kind of rough to both of them because Death Mountain is more or less horrible.
We saw a lot of
And
caves in Death Mountain, and none of them very helpful.
East Hyrule was also just very complex and labyrinthine. Very difficult to get the glove or the fairy spell out of it. And with that, Boss Guma goes down. Oh, 1,000 experience.
Wow.
You're always happy to see that.
That's 2 in a row that the boss put him up to the highest level for the gem.
Though in this case, he was on track for it, even if Guma was stingy.
Was he? I didn't see what it was until he beat Guma.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
yeah,
only
those are low.
like 103 short or something,
Gotcha.
so
Yes, Death Mountain certainly unnecessary, but both of our runners wasted quite a good chunk of time there. Xarnax finding Rebenak.
and Rebo will tie us up on gem count. But given what we've seen of Palace 5, I have to give the edge to Neerrm as he's already done what is likely to prove the nastiest palace of the run.
Well, we still have Great Palace. Let's not count that one out yet.
Oh, who can count out Great Palace? And of course, Neerrm also has the fairy spell, which we don't know if it's required or not. From Xarnax's position, you almost just have to hope it's not and go.
That seems like a big gamble though. Especially if he thinks that the room in 5, the Eco Key room, is on the path to Guma. I can't imagine he'd want to go back and just try to damage boost up there.
And if fairy's going to be required, it's most often required in 6, and we haven't seen anything of 6 yet.
That is true. Xarnax dipping into Darunia and doing a bit of waffling there, but decides to go through it.
He's gonna be disappointed with what he gets out of this town.
Yeah. Let's see if he gets upstab on the way. Goes for the super jump. Oh, third try, not too bad.
Still faster than going around.
I mean,
I'll be honest.
it's always faster
I
than going
just
around.
shamefully go around if I don't have fairy.
I usually try once, just because why not?
I mean, I try once, I've never succeeded, and then I just go around.
I think I've got about 5% of the time I get it. But that's just dumb
Fairy
luck. Like, I don't know
was
when
a
to
wonderful discovery in my book.
Yeah. If I have fairy, I don't even try once. No, that's fairy claws is much more entertaining.
Technically, the super jump is still faster, but if you fail it even once, fairy claws is saving time.
Well, and even if you do 7 attempts, it's still faster to get it on the 8th try than to go around after 7. So, ooh, Neerrm having some near misses there with the unicorn heads or dragon heads or whatever those things are supposed to be.
Though at this point in the game in Palace 4, my mindset is if it doesn't kill me, I'm not really worried if it hit me. Because you know you're suiciding to Karok anyway.
Yeah, that's true. He has no magic.
And I don't remember how much Karok was worth, but if Karok is worth a good chunk, he could get that attack 8 threshold and most probably spend it on just getting a ton of life and magic.
Well, he still has one more gem to place, though, so he might take attack 8. I don't know. I always take attack 8, but that's because I'm terrible at the game, so killing things that...
Speaking of taking things, Xarnax has just taken one of the P-Bag caves in the East Continent.
Oof.
I have to suspect he didn't think it was a P-Bag cave.
Yeah, those ones, there's so many connection caves that, like, you can easily get in the mindset that just, like, go in the cave and go through, and not even stop to think about, is this a cave that goes through? But it's not too bad, you know, if there's, if I can remember the rule, if you come in from the left, and there's 2 block high stairs, then that's a P-Bag cave.
That is the correct rule.
So it's not too complicated to remember.
Yeah, and there's 2 P-Bag caves, while there are 4 connectors.
Yeah, four connectors which each have 2 sides, so...
John, I have to suspect Xarnax is looking for the Naboru so he can get the fairy spell.
Yeah, does Xarnax really not have the medicine? I might have just forgot to mark that.
Oh, no, he had the medicine and the trophy were right away. But here's Naboru. It looks like it wasn't that far from the boots or the glove. You just had to keep going east, or west, rather.
Yeah, and he'll find fairy here and be in good shape.
And
did he go get shield when he was in Darunia? I stopped paying attention to him there.
I believe he did and was disappointed it was not fairy.
We'll assume that he did, so we'll mark that.
Karok goes down, and will it be enough? Not by a big margin, but it was enough.
Nice.
So Neerrm is pulled into the gym lead, while Xarnax has finally satisfied that woman's thirst. Neerrm choosing to wait out the... he does take attack 8 after waiting out the gym count up.
Yeah, and if he can get above that threshold again in Palace 6, which, I mean, Palace 6 is full of enemies, it's going to be pretty easy for him to get to the, what is it, 1200 he needs?
Yeah, 6 is a very experience-rich dungeon. He
And
needs
Barba,
1190. That's not...
yeah,
Barba alone is
like
likely more than
five
half of it.
500-ish on average. I don't I don't have those
It
tables
averages
memorized.
700. You
Oh,
know, that's
so
its middle value. It can go up, it can go down, but you're getting several hundred no matter what, if not 1,000.
so yeah, I think attack 8 is a good decision there. You can do your level dumping here in 6. So I think yeah, Neerm's pulled ahead here. Um, Xarnax apparently with the 100% on this seed. Well, aside from the
Yeah.
containers.
Xarnax has to go and get back into 5 as quickly as possible and find Guma quickly, too. If he wants to get back in this race.
Well, and Great Palace can easily equalize this difference.
It's actually funny because both of them probably feel like they're really behind. There's a very real chance we'll watch both of them go left at the start.
That would be a lot of fun. We have our first glimpses into Palace 6 here, but I haven't paid enough attention to see if he's had a lot of choices yet.
Not too many so far, though he's already had to do what I think is the scariest thing in Palace 6, and that's take a drop when you can't afford ferry.
Yeah, that's always dangerous because you don't want to fall by that ferry required room and not be able to find out if that's the right path. Ooh, we have a potential for ferry required here, but both of our runners do have ferry, so that shouldn't be an issue.
And ferry is not required, though we could have to see ferry cast several more times depending on how these drops play out, because that's one of the endpoints of drop rooms.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate layout. That could easily drain your magic repeatedly.
Yep, Xarnax has worked his way straight back to the eco key room. You gotta believe he's convinced this is required.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be pretty disappointed.
Oh, and Neerrm will get plenty of XP from Rebenak alone here. He was worth a good chunk if I remember correctly. Yeah, 700. Is that the highest he can be?
I'd have to check, but if 700 is the second highest value any enemy can be worth, so that's always pretty good.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't take one of the levels there. There's plenty of time for him to get above 1190 again. This room.
And yeah, Jay Coper, Fairy might not be required this seed. We don't have enough information yet to say for sure, but nothing we've seen so far suggests it's required.
Yeah, and there's still potential fairy required rooms in Great Palace.
It could still be required in 6. We haven't seen if the fairy
That's
drop
true,
is a
yeah.
required route yet.
Xarnax must have found the bad news dead end there.
Though with the shortened Great Palace flag, that really does reduce the odds that you'll need fairy in GP, because it's just as likely that the couple of rooms that might require fairy don't exist at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not super informed on how that flag works, but it removes a handful of rooms randomly from
Okay,
Great Palace, right?
yeah, here's exactly how that flag works. So Great Palace is ordinarily 57 rooms, which is beautifully exactly the same number of rooms that level 9 was in Zelda 1.
An excellent homage.
What that flag does is it randomly removes between 25 to 50% of the rooms in Great Palace,
Oh
but it will
wow.
only ever remove rooms that only have 2 entrances and are not drops.
Ah,
And
so
if you think
no
about it,
no
a
decision
lot of the
points.
rooms in Great Palace have 3 or 4 entrances or are drops, so the pool of rooms that could be removed is a lot more limited. And the fact that all the fairy required rooms are on that list just makes it all the more likely they won't exist.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. It's I guess safer to
I guess I didn't say it, but it should be obvious. Even though it only has 2 entrances, Thunderbird's room will not be removed.
Neerm finding the item room, so he'll get another container out of this. What do we have? 2 magic containers and 1 heart container left, so
Yeah, I've seen a
fairly
lot of
even
people in
odds.
this tournament foregoing Six's item if they know they don't need it to save the Rebo fight, but Neerm went for it.
You know, the magic refill there could have been worth the time on the Rebo fight.
Honestly, it really could have, and he
Because
knew it was a 2 out of 3 magic container.
he's got a drop room just to the left here, and that could dump him back where he needs to cast Fairy. Instead, we have a infinite loop drop room here.
Though honestly, the infinite loop drop's one of the nicest things you can see there because it means nothing if you miss the jump.
Yeah, in that room, it's nice because it's easy to recognize. But when you have the infinite drops that are like 2 rooms that are very similar, that one I find confuses me a lot. The 2 rooms that have the dead ends on both sides and the small platforms in the middle.
Xarnax has found Guma, and again, Neerrm has spent a lot of time in Palace 6. So if Xarnax finds a quicker road to Barba than Neerrm is finding, that could be a big even equalizer. Well, Xarnax uses a very interesting technique for Guma.
Yeah, I've not
Just
seen that one before. Ooh, we've got the fairy drop room here. We'll see if this is the path.
technically, you don't need Fairy to get in here most of the time, but it has to be frame perfect to get in without Fairy. I almost never see people pull it off.
I don't think I've never even tried. I assumed that fairy was required for that room.
I think it does depend on where you fall from, because, that can affect your position. I know if you line it up just right, and you're holding right, and you have max momentum at the right spacing, you can just slide in.
Oh, nice.
And once in a while, if you fall from the right place, you get a ceiling walk there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess I have seen the ceiling walk happen there a couple times. That's
Yeah, I don't feel it's the most common ceiling walk to get, but it happens sometimes.
Ooh, and we
And that
found
does appear to have been the way to Barba.
so fairy more or less required. But I guess technically this seed could have so far been completed without fairy at all.
Yeah, Fairy not technically required, but likely required in practice, especially because that's one of those rooms that if you miss it, you don't exactly get an easy do-over.
Yeah. You're not going too aggressively for Barba here. Maybe he's on his last
Yeah,
life.
this is reminding me a lot more of my Barba fights than most other people's Barba fights. Oh, I gotta be real. It's not that bad.
Yeah, Barba's not too tough, especially if you take it slow. All right, so Neerm's gonna make a beeline for Great Palace here, I'm sure. Is it the
After
Valley of
another
Death?
wait for his experience.
If he's on his last life, maybe he doesn't want to risk, getting an unlucky knock into the lava in Valley of Death. Because that'd be heartbreaking to throw away your 9,000 experience.
It can be devastating, really. We have the one person who I'm not seeing in chat right now who's always rooting for Attack 9. That would have been a major game changer if it actually happened this
Yeah,
race.
I've taken Attack 9 by mistake in a race before. I'm not ashamed to say it. Ashamed of it, but
I've noticed the meta now is just to suicide in the lava if you fail to get across those lava rooms with Fairy.
I usually if I cast fairy and don't have enough magic to do it again, I'll just fairy through those encounters.
You can cross those without Fairy or even jump. You just
Oh yeah.
have to be careful. And right away, and we see my favorite thing to see in a very early G, and that's a drop. Because every time you see a drop on a linear path, you're just removing a potential hard choice you'll have to make later.
Yeah. And that room's a force drop. You can't. You don't have an option to press on even. But you're finding after the drop that there's not many paths to the right.
Yep, you have your choice of left or left, and Neerrm chooses left. Well, Xarnax seems to be doing much of what Neerrm did in Palace 6.
Yeah,
exploring every wrong route before the correct route. In fairness, this does not appear to be a very straightforward 6, even by 6's standards. And 6 is rarely straightforward.
Yeah, we did see Neerm spend quite a lot of time in 6. But so far this Great Palace not
Neerrm doing what I often do when I encounter that room, which is turn around and take the previous elevator.
Ooh. Xarnax finding the right path here, though, so...
Yeah,
That's
Xarnax
actually
is
a lot
only
less
going
time.
to be in GP a few minutes behind, and so far, Neerrm seems to be electing for the meta. Of
Yeah.
just trying to go right.
I guess he's not as shaken as we thought he might be. Finding one of these time sync waffle rooms, as I've recently heard them named.
These rooms are so much more fun with shuffle small and large enemies when they're
Oh,
full of bird
gosh.
knights.
Yeah, I tried to play a Master Seed one time. I don't think I'll be trying that again.
Let me tell you, I never thought about how jump isn't that big of a deal. Because I learned this with that flag. And I was like, you need jump in those rooms to jump around the bird knights so you never, free them. Xarnax did have a quicker P6 than Neerrm did.
Yeah,
He
significantly
gained
quicker.
time on his trips back to 5 and 6, but he's still behind.
Is Vonky the one that got you guys that one heart container seed, Larry?
I played a Vonky flag set today. It was weird. We ended up having no gems and basically full cleared the game looking for the glove.
Is there an option that's like random number of gems required?
Yes, and we random 0.
Wow.
I didn't check the flags carefully, and I discovered I had no gyms when I went to place Palace 1's gym. Surprising only me, and it didn't work.
Xarnax finishing up 6, and we'll see. We'll see if he goes with the gamble.
As Xarnax just keeps finding the drops. Now, most people won't take this drop right away. In fact, there's only one person who's known to do that right away.
That's the Enchantress of Numbers named room for that player, right?
Yeah. But there's another drop here anyway, so you got to be feeling that pressure to drop, but Neerrm is resisting.
Yeah, looks like Xarnax opted to go right.
Oh. Oh.
They were both in the same looking room with the same orange Faka, and I'm not sure if they were actually in the same physical room there.
They were. Neerrm just found the whole GP loops.
Wow.
They are effectively tied, except Neerrm has a lot of knowledge about where not to go. So
Xarnax will need to discover that the Eon room is a way to go, potentially.
Yeah, Xarnax took at least one left that Neerrm didn't. It only led to the extra life, but if he keeps taking these lefts, we don't know. Maybe one of them is a solution.
Yeah, well, the one left right at the start leads to that loop that we just discovered, I think.
Yeah, there's a big loop through the whole palace that Neerrm discovered by taking... It's the most defeating feeling in Great Palace when you take an elevator wondering where it's going and you see you're outside.
Yeah. Neerrm finds another choice in the block room. Oh, an easy choice now.
Yeah, like, I know people often get frustrated when they run into those X rooms, but honestly, I'm happy to see them if I find them right after a choice, because it just simplifies the whole situation for me.
Yeah. Xarnax also noping right out of the ferry room.
Yeah. If I had to guess, I would say Neerrm is probably on the right path. At least I would really suspect that next drop is correct, though he's choosing to check out the left first.
Yeah, I mean it's easier to backtrack to the right than up, so I thought we had seen this waffle room before, but maybe not. Oh no, we have two.
Drops are always... I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say we have two waffle rooms with Fakas in the middle. So, but yeah, the drops. Oh, Neerrm just passing through the ferry room that he's already been to.
If Neerm's getting turned around and doing stuff over and over again, that could easily cost him the difference between these two racers. Oh, never mind.
So, turning back at the ferry room was a wrong decision, because it looks like going to the ferry room and going up that elevator is what led him here.
And we've seen a pretty fair chunk of GP, including, I believe, 3 of the drop rooms.
Yeah.
So it's pretty likely Dark Link isn't horribly far beyond this.
Yeah, this could be wrapping up pretty soon here. Ooh. Oh, Neerrm.
Where's Xarnax right now? Is he on the route?
I think he's a little bit further back. I just noticed.
Oh no, this is another one of those.
Yeah, I saw Neerrm taking the elevator straight up through the ferry room. I didn't see how he came to be there. Yeah, I thought Neerrm had died earlier, but he still has 2 lives, so he's in good shape still.
With attack 8, life 7, and all the magic, Thunderbird should be relatively easy.
Yeah, he must have got here with low health to begin with the first time. And there he goes. Ooh.
And here he is.
Wow. So
barring the unthinkable, it looks like Neerrm will be our winner this race.
yes, it certainly does. Yeah, Larry, avoiding the ferry room. That was the one thing you had to not do in this great palace.
Yeah, I mean, the ferry room's going to force you to take an elevator anyways. Instead, it doesn't feel worse. It just turned out that the ferry elevator was correct. And with that, Neerrm is our winner.
Yeah, he makes quick work of Dark Link. We'll see if we can get him in Discord here. Do you want to try and invite him? If I try and alt-tab, I think I'm going to mess up the stream here.
Sure thing.
Oh, I guess I could have asked him in IRC. I have that up. Is that Neerrm joining us?
Yep, it looks like we have a Neerrm. Congratulations, Neerrm.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. I don't have audio on Discord.
So he could talk to us but not hear us, maybe.
Depending on your perspective, that might be an improvement.
Yeah, Xarnax still in that in that one great loop. Any luck with the audio this time, Neerrm?
Huh.
Sadly, Xarnax does not get the extra life again.
Yeah, just the one time. Oh, is he gonna try and boost his way through this room? Maybe he just forgot which room it was.
Alright, third tries a charm, maybe?
Can
Maybe.
you hear us?
There we go.
All right.
So congratulations on both getting Discord working and winning the race.
Thanks. That was a heck of a seed there.
It was a heck of a race. I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were completely out of it when Xarnax had 3 gems to your 0.
I thought I was completely out of it when I found Key in 2 and was like, oh, I could have just jumped in here right in the beginning and I would have been good to go.
Yeah, that
Yeah, Xarnax didn't get it right away, but he got it fairly early because he did 1 and 2 much earlier than you, while you were just really committed to Overworld.
Yeah, I figured, like, because the chances of getting the key, because I had already grabbed all of the West Continent treasures outside of the one I could never find in Death Mountain, and I was praying that it wasn't necessary. And then I was looking for Fairy the whole time, and it was the last spell I found, of course.
So, speaking of that one in Death Mountain, you might have felt like Death Mountain was what put you behind, but little did you know, in the long run, Death Mountain is what won you the seed.
Is that so?
Because Xarnax did not find the boots and the glove anywhere near when you did, and he was so late, he was just convinced Death Mountain was correct. And he spent way longer in DM than you did.
yeah, probably
and discovered
twice.
it was even more horrible than you imagined. Still never found the item and gave up on it after an even bigger time sink.
Oh my goodness! I to this day, Legends will be written about where that actual room was.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a worse Death Mountain than that one. That was pretty brutal.
The
And we never found
speculation
it.
some of us were beginning to have was that the item might have been boot blocked.
I only saw the
Oh,
one
you-
cave
it's-
that was boot blocked, and they both managed to find that one. So I don't. But I mean, it could have
Yeah,
been.
there
something
could have been
further
another
away.
boot blocked section though.
Yeah.
It's, certainly, it was nowhere either of you two managed to make it.
Yeah, it was. I was confused for sure. Yeah, and so I honestly I have no idea how I won this race. I had 8 spells going into the first dungeon, and like it was an hour in, and I was like, oh man, this is over. This is very over.
Yeah. Well, once you got in the dungeons, though, you were able to go very quickly since you had once you got the master key, you had everything you could hope for. Really. I think in 3 you got a magic container that was probably pretty relieving since 4 magic containers isn't ideal going into Great Palace.
Yeah, I had seen that Thunder was costing, I think it was like 78, and that's 4's not going to cut it for that. So
Yeah.
so in the first couple palaces, I was like, okay, I'll just pick up a jar in a palace in 1 or 2, and then 2 happened to be the key, so I lucked out there.
Yeah, when you first entered we saw you sticking to the right-hand path, and I was concerned you were gonna miss out on the key, but it all worked out then.
There were a lot of interesting twists in this race, though. Like, Naboru turned out to be so close to the boots and the glove, but neither of you found it when you found boots and gloves, so both of you had fairy as your last spell.
It's like right there too. That's the saddest part. I'm like, oh man, it's open. It's right there. Xarnax had to have found it, 50 minutes ago.
Yeah, we thought we thought both of you were gonna potentially feel behind going into Great Palace and try for the gamble strats, but the Great Palace turned out to be something of a nightmare as well.
Yeah, there was a pretty big loop in there. Unfortunately, I was paying enough attention to realize where I hadn't gone yet and get through it relatively quickly.
Yeah, I think in the end, you two are spending about the same amount of time in GP, assuming that Xarnax is about to find the right way, but you were in it far enough ahead of him that your knowledge advantage was really the difference, even though you were both in the second room of Great Palace at the same time at one point.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
first discovered the loop, that was right when Xarnax got in there. So you were, in the same room, but you had the advantage of knowing where not to go at that point.
Yeah, it's really cool that this turned out to be such a close race, all things considered. It was
Yeah.
definitely.
It kind of went back and forth for a while there. It was interesting seeing, both of you had such different approaches to the early game, but winding up so close. Xarnax
Yeah, it
only
was-
entered Great Palace a few minutes after you.
Yeah, it was especially just shocking how big of a swing it was, because for about the first hour, the story was pretty much Xarnax pulling further and further into the lead, and seeming like this wasn't going to be competitive at all. And then as soon as Xarnax entered Death Mountain, that was right about the time that you finally had everything you needed and you started doing palaces. And it just, at first his lead shrunk, then it disappeared, and then it reversed.
Yeah, finding the gloves, we had talked about that before the race started, and then at the beginning of the race, like finding the gloves can be such a huge turning point, and you found them over in Eastern Hyrule while Xarnax was still looking for them, and that's kind of when the tides changed.
Yeah, a lot of Z2 races seem to come down to, oh, where's glove and how fast can I find it?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, Xarnax, he's almost there. He's gonna go get that fairy though. But yeah, it was a really, really fun race to watch. I thought it was, yeah, it was kind of tearing at the heartstrings, going back and forth, like, oh, it's not going to be competitive. Oh, wait, they're getting close again.
I'll tell you, Death Mountain broke my heart twice in this race.
Yeah, it was fun that they both win at such different times. So we got to see that struggle.
It kind of made it easier as a commentator because you could just focus on the other one while the other guy's like, yep, still more Death Mountain.
Oh man. Yeah, I got a little overzealous when I found the glove. I was like, "All right, I found the glove. I can go do palaces." Then I remembered, oh, I don't have fairy or key,
Yeah.
so I had to like dive back to East Continent there.
Yeah, we did see that. So one of the, like, if you had happened to choose one as your first palace, one was sufficiently open that you could do it without fairy or keys. But I know a lot of people don't like to just not take that gamble and try and get away through locked doors before they even think about dungeons, which seemed like that was kind of your strategy there. Although you have to start doubting it when you have 7 spells and none of them is fairy.
Yeah, so what's funny is I almost always try to do Palace 1 if I don't have anything, if I happen across it. But I guess this time I was like, okay, I'll just come back to it. I guess the point of where I ran into it was I forget what I was gonna say. I ran into it early enough that I was like, oh, I'll just get a key and come back, or I'll get fairy and come back. It's like Xarnax's shadow.
Yep.
Like that.
He found Thunderbird and Dark Link, of course, in the very next room. We were thinking they've seen a lot of great palace, but I wasn't expecting that quick a Dark Link find.
Yeah, I really wasn't either. I guess the loop was a little more substantial than I thought it was.
It was.
I think there were a couple wrong ways that neither of you managed to flesh out.
I'm okay with that.
Because I didn't track all the last things Xarnax did, but I know you found 3 of the 4 drops.
Yeah, I wasn't counting, but it sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't ever really keep too much track of what I'm up to in Great Palace. I just kind of try to remember what places I've been. So yeah, we can see if we can get Xarnax in here for a post-game interview as well. I don't think I have any more questions for you. Who do you face next in the tournament? Neerrm?
It is to be determined.
I
think there's another race and then yet another race before
it'll be the winner of Raikou Rider and Highlander.
I see.
Any thoughts about your potential opponents?
I don't really know too much about Raikou Rider or Highlander, so it's a mystery.
Yeah, I've never seen Raikou Rider play. I've seen Highlander play vanilla, but I don't think I've ever seen him play a randomizer.
Well, Raikou Rider took out Jay Coper in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
Then he got Buzz Thundered, and he's waiting for his revenge after that. Well, Highlander lost his first match. I'm not seeing it in the bracket. Oh, yeah, to Scorpion Max. And then he managed to take what appears to be a win by default. 2 wins by default in a row to proceed here.
Oh, wow.
And I wouldn't hold a win by default against someone. You can't control what your opponent does, but it still kind of remains to be seen what he can do,
That's very true.
Let's see if we can get Xarnax in here as well. Otherwise, good luck to you on the rest of your tournament. I will continue watching from the elimination couch, where I promptly found a seat after joining this tournament.
According to Jay Coper, they call it Death Mountain because it's where runs go to die.
Yeah. That's, Yeah, I think my policy is going to be not to go to Death Mountain anymore.
I typically try to avoid it as much as possible. The only reason I really ducked into it in the first place is because I saw that the jar fall was like right there on the back entrance. So I was like, oh, I'll just pick up the item while I'm here. No. That was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, we were talking about the oh, I forget what the official term for it is. The throwing bad money after good, sort of. I've been in Death Mountain so long, like it's gotta be close. I'll just keep looking. But you abandoned that madness a little more easily than Xarnax did, and that cost him a lot of time.
It's definitely a mentality. Oh, it's got to be, I just didn't try this one.
Yeah. So I think I heard Xarnax joining us. Can you hear us, Xarnax?
Oh, I can.
Cool. So, what are your thoughts on the race there? I see you mentioned 2 different things you thought cost you 10 minutes.
Easily. One was Great Palace. Like,
Yeah.
I just made an unfortunate decision.
Both of you went into that the room with the lava pits and the ferry, and both of you noped right out of there. So
Really? Wow.
it was kind of funny to watch both of you like, I don't think I want to deal with this room.
As it worked out, you two had very similar overall Great Palaces, just you were in it second.
Right. It's actually, like, I don't mind that room at all. I just figured if there were any loop happening, I would know. Like, it's just such a recognizable room, and I entered it from one side. I knew if there was any way to wrap back around it from one of the elevator entrances, I would know that I was in a loop.
Yeah, I don't think your decision was objectively wrong. You just weren't lucky.
Right. Exactly. And then obviously the other thing was thinking that I might be able to get lucky and find the item in Death Mountain quickly.
Yes, Death Mountain.
Not abandoning that decision.
Yeah,
Death Mountain was
we were
a
talking
nightmare.
about it with Neerrm, but when you entered Death Mountain, you had 3 gyms and Neerrm had 0.
Man, yeah.
So if you had gone east again and found the glove and the boots, you would have had an effectively uncatchable lead, but Death Mountain did its thing.
Right. Yeah. I said as soon as I finally got out of there, I'm like, this probably cost me the race. I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, and it cost you the lead you had at that point. I don't know that it necessarily. I mean, I guess.
By the time you gave up on it, you were
say-
about half a palace behind, and that's where the race ended.
Yeah,
Man.
but it was a very entertaining race to watch. You both went in and struggled with the Death Mountain. I think Neerrm mentioned that having Spectacle Rock so close to the one entrance there, you thought, I'll just swing by and get the item. It didn't work out for either of you.
Right.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is you had that late game Death Mountain expedition. For Neerrm, it was early in the game. While you were doing 1 and 2, he was going everywhere and nowhere in Death Mountain.
Okay. So he killed a lot of time there too, at least.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
then-
though I think in the end your expedition was a bit longer, but you had more
I-
reason to be committed because there were so many fewer glove places remaining when you did it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's certainly the race was not over until Neerrm found Thunderbird. Like that was.
Right.
You guys were both. There was that giant loop at the beginning. Of most of Great Palace. Neerrm had actually just discovered that loop as you were entering the same room in the loop that he was in. So it was kind of funny to see. Like we're like, oh wow, they're actually like right in the same spot now. But he had the knowledge of where not to go there, and managed to get lucky on the elevator choices.
So one critical moment I really wanted to ask you about. When you left Palace 5 after not doing the eco key, were you convinced that had to be the way to Guma, or did you just not want to risk more time loss in 5?
I wasn't convinced. I mean, I thought there was a good chance that it was, and I couldn't remember enough of like what I hadn't explored yet. I knew I had found the item, and I knew I still needed to get the glove and come back. I don't know. There were a handful of factors, I think, and it probably was the wrong decision. Like in hindsight, especially knowing that he was just a couple rooms down.
Yeah, well, it's always easy to know which decisions were good and bad in hindsight.
Right. Yeah, I basically had felt like I couldn't think of anywhere that I hadn't explored yet. I mean, that's always been my biggest weakness in the randomizers is just losing track of where I've been. And yeah, that killed me in 5. And Death Mountain.
Yeah, I think I mean, no one's happy with the Death Mountain in that seed.
Nope.
That was,
We're totally baffled at where the item in Death Mountain could even be. Between the two of you, you must have gone literally everywhere but the correct spot.
Right. I mean, yeah, I could tell, like, there were a whole bunch of caves that just had, like, one, I mean, not caves, like, sections, like, in the overworld that just had one entrance in them. So, like, I knew that was going to happen a lot. So it looked like there was, like, I mean, it's nice when the Hammer Cave is in one of those big areas that has, like, 10, 12 caves in it, because you can pop in and check them all.
You know what's actually possible now that you mention it? The randomizer doesn't guarantee you can reach every item. It allows for the heart container is unreachable. If the last heart container was in Hammer Cave and it was in one of those islands, it could have been that it was impossible to get Death Mountain's item.
I didn't know. That's a mechanic that's good to know.
yeah, I thought.
I'm gonna wander back in there and see if I can find it right now.
So when we talk to you tomorrow morning, we'll have finally found it, right?
I doubt it.
We'll have to highlight the path that you take to get there. But yeah, I didn't realize that a heart container could be impossible to get. I thought that you only, like, the caves that could be impossible to get to were like the P-Bag Cave that doesn't ever have anything.
Yeah, I've seen it happen in the West Hyrule Overworld. I've never proven it's happened in Death Mountain. I usually don't go there unless I feel I have to, so that minimizes the chance I'll run into it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know it was possible for any caves to be inaccessible.
Yeah, it's weird because, you know, the Zelda 1 randomizer guarantees you can get everything, go to every, do everything, whether it helps you or not.
Right.
Zelda 2 randomizer, different set of guarantees.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah, it's certainly useful to know the mechanics. But I'm not sure that really would have... maybe it would have helped the decision to give up on Death Mountain if you knew it was a chance that it was literally impossible to get to.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh well.
Well, there's plenty of seats still available on the eliminated couch. You can continue to watch the tournament. I'm sure we'll have a lot more races. Hopefully as exciting as this one. This is been one of the better ones I've seen, at least, but I haven't had a chance to watch too many of them so far.
Yeah, this one was certainly a wild ride. It was entertaining, but I'm sorry, we have nothing for you. The road's over.
Yeah.
But I hope you've had fun, and I hope the Zelda 2 randomizer tournament's been a good experience for you.
Absolutely. I'm ready for the next one.
Maybe Dig will put together a Master Seed only one or something, and we can have even more struggles. He warned us that we weren't prepared for the things he had coming next, so it'll be interesting.
Even
to see.
more swamps.
It'll be interesting to see, what evolution the randomizer takes. But well, thanks guys for putting on a good race for us. There's another race happening, maybe. In case you haven't had enough Death Mountain, we can try again, get some more SRL points. Otherwise, make sure you follow these racers. They play entertaining games, I'm sure. I don't know too much about what either of you guys do aside from C2 Randomizer. But thanks, Ampharos, for filling up the dead space with me.
Yeah, I'm glad to help. I thank everyone for watching. I hope everyone was entertained by this race. It was certainly a wild one. And I think I'm going to sign out.
Yep, thanks guys for restreaming.
Yeah, of course.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, gotta make sure people can watch the races.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
All right, take it easy,
GG,
guys.
Neerrm, good luck on your. I think you actually you're up against one of these two. Or no, man, you might have one race in between. Yeah. Neerrm goes on to face Raikou Rider and Highlander.
Yeah.
Then the winner of that plays the loser of King Doll and Amazing Ampharos.
Yeah. Nobody plays me in the tournament anymore. I'm in the 0-2 club. But I can't say I didn't expect to do that well. So, all right, guys, we're gonna see about doing this other race myself, but we will see you guys in a future tournament, hopefully, or just some future races.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yep, take it easy.
Had a good one.